Hello everyone and welcome to This Week in Stupid for the 20th of February 2021. If you'd like to support this channel, the stupidest thing you can do is to subscribe. Subscribing makes more people see this video, so you are helping out. Now, let's begin with the New York Times. This billion-dollar publication really cares about us, like a mother caring about the well-being of its child. They write in an article warning us not to go down the rabbit hole. Critical thinking, as we're taught to do it, isn't helping in the fight against misinformation. I completely agree, the New York Times, which is why I have asked a new army of soldiers to be trained. An army of soldiers to fight against misinformation. And here we have a new recruit fighting against fake news. Behold his perfect posture as he fights for the glory of the New York Times. Charging ahead, bravely fighting against the misinformation which evil man Tucker Carlson puts out. Take that, misinformation. Take that. Huzzah. In other news, 8 hours ago, a woman claims that a gust of wind impregnated her an hour before birth. Ah yes, seems that the evil Zephyr is at foot again. And who can blame her, because it seems that more and more straight hot guys are becoming unavailable. And with articles like this, maybe we can figure out why. Dear straight guys, it's time to start putting things in your butt. Vice UK suggests that straight guys, here's why you should give pegging a chance. Also Vice, are you getting any why straight men should be more open to experimentation? And also Vice magazine, I truly believe most heterosexual males are to a degree homophobic. Why straight men won't experiment with their sexuality. And speaking about people who like experimenting with their sexuality, because I guess they read a lot of Vice magazine, it's my favorite YouTuber of all time, Vosh. Now, I have not seen this particular video. However, a comment has been brought to my attention and I did verify it to see if it's real or not. In this video, I encourage people to sit down, okay? Because I'm going to hit you with something heavy right now. It's going to take a lot to grasp in the wisdom of the things that I'm about to read. So just make sure you're comfortably sat down before you listen to this. In this video, I drop an N-bomb, says Vosh. Big one. Hard rrr. I did this to show my interlocutors that their language doesn't impress me, that their slurs don't frighten or disarm me. You can see from their reaction that it worked. They were clearly taken aback. It was a power move, which I am entirely unashamed of. But I understand how that language might have upset some of you. This is an example of what I would call an invocation of slurs' power for good. Saying the N-word for righteousness. But that is a subjective judgment. Unlike all the other objective judgments that are usually casted on his channel, I assume. I invite you all to discuss this in the comments, critically or otherwise. Yeah, sure, Vosh, I would love to discuss it. got a question here. How do you do it? How the fuck do you do it? Okay, when Sargon drops the how did he put it? The big one. When Sargon drops the big one, I lose Patreons on my Patreon channel. Okay? Like, when he drops the big one, it tears through the fabric of time. It destroys the veil of the financial universe. There is monetary repercussions throughout the entire YouTube ecosystem when Sargon drops the big one, the hard rrr. And yet when you do it, 1 year passes and nothing happens. How? I mean, you got a beard, he's got a beard, you both have beards. How is the, what is the explanation? I mean, you both are sporting the Rasputin look and hairstyle. So you're both magical people. How is it that when he does it, I get fucked? When you do it, it's fine. Like, you need to share this wisdom with other people so that financial consequences don't happen. But when PewDiePie does it, okay, when PewDiePie does it, apocalypse happens. Yellow icons everywhere. I just sea of yellow, piss yellow on my YouTube channel. But when you do it, it's fine. How do you do it? Tell it to the rest of the world. Please share it with the freaking class. Man, these YouTubers, they make me jealous. Do you know what other YouTuber makes me jealous with abilities that they have and I don't? Razor Fist. Razor Fist. Apparently, sitting Congressman Dr. Paul Gosar follows Razor Fist. Let me add, if you don't follow Razor Fist, you are missing acerbic wit delivered at the tip of a spear into your heart. You've been warned. Man, I hate these politicians. Like, what is wrong with them listening to YouTubers that talk about freedom and individual liberty? That's so fascistic. That's so anti-American. You should read the New York Times instead if you're a politician. The New York Times says that unfettered conversations are taking place on Clubhouse, an invitation-only app that lets people gather in audio chat rooms. The platform has exploded in popularity despite grappling with concerns over harassment, misinformation, and privacy. Yeah, can you imagine going into a place where it's invite-only and you're getting harassed? I mean, you can leave, but no. Like, these people, you know, like, they're like slaves. Once you go into Clubhouse, you're stuck in Clubhouse. And you can't get out. And they're crying for help, but luckily, the New York Times is here to listen. I am willing to propose that a journalist from New York Times happens to listen to every single communication on Clubhouse, and they moderate it. I would put forward that proposition. We need more New York Times in our lives. You know what? In fact, I am willing to say that we need to get rid of the political class and put the New York Times instead to run every single nation on earth. We need to give all our power to the New York Times because they know better than everyone else and they can't make mistakes. So just give them all the power. Because look here, you bigot. Mao Zedong died on this day in 1976. The Times said he began as an obscure peasant and died one of history's greatest revolutionary figures. Isn't this nice? I mean, even when you have a genocidal maniac like Mao Zedong, the New York Times is such compassion that they see the good in people. They see the light even in the darkest of places. I mean, look here, Fidel Castro, Cuban revolutionary who defied the United States, died at 90. See, they make proper headlines. It's not like all those other rags that would defile good Castro's name. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, 89, the unwavering Iranian spiritual leader, a polarizing figure who led a movement. Hugo Chavez. Yasser Arafat, father and leader of Palestinian nationalism, dies at 75. See, like, man, the New York Times, I'm telling you, they can see light in the darkest of places. But of course, certain places have no light. Rush Limbaugh, who built talk radio into a right-wing attack machine, dies. Mr. Limbaugh, 70, who helped transform the GOP, pushed talk radio to the right with misogynistic and racist language and conspiracy theories. See, Mao Zedong might have committed a genocide or two. He might have allowed a couple of people to fall down while doing the Great Leap Forward. But at least he didn't have misogynistic language. Now did he? I mean, all Rush Limbaugh had to do was not use misogynistic language, and then he too could have gotten a prestigious article in the New York Times after he passed away. But because he didn't, well, he did that to himself now, did he? He knows what he did. By the way, don't you guys hate it when a right-winger comes up and he goes like, oh, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did and I got punished. I got banned. I got censored. I didn't do anything. I don't like these people. Like, they know what they did. Do you want me to give you an example of a person who didn't know what they did? I mean, take this article from Team Coco. Nicole Byer is single and has been for decades. She is smart. She is funny. So the question is, why is she perpetually single? This podcast is the quest to find the answer. See, that is so unfair. Now, that is an actual tragedy. That is actually a person that doesn't know what they did. And they started a podcast in order to find the quest. That's a beautiful thing. Hopefully they will get the answer. Now, let's talk about some other country, shall we? Because I usually talk about the United States, and I'm going to talk about the United States later on. But right now, let's talk about Mexico. Mexico blames the United States as energy crisis spills across the border. Oh yeah, that Keystone Pipeline thing, huh? Yeah, apparently Mexico is importing natural gas from the United States. But there's less gas now, so oopsie. Well, that's okay. You know, if you don't like it because it's cold in Mexico, you can just hop on over to the United States. I understand Biden is very welcoming of immigrants. So, you know, if your country just doesn't get heating anymore, you can just go into the United States to warm yourself up. I mean, the people from the US are going to even be less reliant on gas anyway. They're going to use green energy, they call it. Green. Green like the super chest that I'm getting. You know who else uses green energy? Germany. In Germany, they used to have big projects for nuclear power back in the day. But the Green Party decided that nuclear power isn't good. So instead, they're using solar. You know, solar is nice. I mean, the sun is always up there. So you just have to put in a couple of panels and oh. In Germany, millions of solar panels are blanketed in snow and 30,000 wind turbines are sitting idle because there's no wind. Sky News reports. Goddamn Republicans. God damn it all. You know, it's because the German government doesn't regulate too much. That's what happens when you don't have regulation. You know what the solution for this is? More green energy. More of it. That is going to fix the problem. Meanwhile, in Texas, wind turbines are frozen in winter storm, limiting the state's power output. And all jokes aside, if you're an American in Texas, I pray for you. Like, I have gone, okay, I'm dropping the persona now. Like, I'm just like, serious heart to heart, okay? I've been through socialism. We had minus 20 degrees outside and no heating inside. I understand what that is like. It's really messed up, and hopefully you're going to get safely through this winter. In the meantime, Republicans are mismanaging the situation in Portland, where you get power lines just exploding, and it leaves thousands without power. See how evil the Republicans are? My God, I just can't believe it. And in the midst of all this, a Texas mayor resigns after telling residents desperate for power and heat that only the strong will survive. Speaking of socialism, at least the one in my country, in Romania, yeah, only the strong did survive. You can accuse the politician of many things, but not of lying. Now, a lot of people are pointing on the internet that this is because it's happening in a red state. Okay, so they don't count Germany, they don't count any other place like Portland. No, it's happening in a red state because there's not a lot of regulation on a public utility like electricity that is heavily regulated by the government. And the solution to this problem is, of course, more regulations by the government and more green energy. I fully agree, 100%. You know, like, at this point, how worse can it go? Like, don't half-ass it. If you started the process, just finish it. Maybe Texans will start sleeping with their farm animals indoors, like people did during medieval times. I'm not kidding, they did that in Europe. And then you can have all the cow burps and the cow farts, and the carbon emissions is going to warm up your house. There you go, win-win. I mean, who the fuck wants electricity anyway? What is it good for? What has electricity ever done for us? Oh, okay. You know what? Fine. There is one thing you can use electricity for. You can use electricity in order to watch the new star, Gabriel Ludwig, which is going to play basketball. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Like, they're absolutely beautiful. I never realized just how much I enjoy women basketball until I saw a match with Gabrielle. She definitely won my heart, and she is a very good player. I definitely see her as an upcoming star. Now, I don't know how I can bet money, but if I ever find out, I will definitely put my money on her team. Go comments. The only thing that I wish is that a movie in her name would be made one day. A movie where you have a basketball team and they're just starting from scratch and climbing the ranks until eventually they manage to win the championship.
Whoa. Whoa.
This is Jack.
Whoa. Whoa.
Man, that cat has a sexy voice. I would definitely let Jack has his way with my kitty. All the male cats in the area are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Not very strong masculine voice. That cat oozed of toxic masculinity. Let's go to Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. Do you guys remember when Twitter was complaining that Uganda decided to ban social media and messaging apps ahead of an election? I mean, how can they have guaranteed election integrity? Who's going to fortify their election if they get to ban Facebook and Twitter? It's just so undemocratic, my God. And Twitter condemned it because, internet shutdowns, they are hugely harmful, violate basic human rights and the principles of the open internet, which only Twitter can guarantee, of course. Now, some twat says, don't like being banned, Twitter, make your own Uganda. It's got 14.5 thousand likes, 2,317 retweets, and an account suspension from Twitter. And I hope this is a lesson for everyone. Stop questioning Twitter. Twitter is essential to an open internet. You questioning Twitter is problematic. In fact, I would advocate we give Twitter even more power to apply terms of service in real life, not just online. Because look what's happening when Twitter isn't there. Apparently, Donald Trump returned to Mar-a-Lago, and there were thousands of people there ready to meet him. And people like this lady is asking the correct question. This is bullshit. How did all these people know he was out playing golf today? He doesn't have social media anymore. However, many, probably mask-free, parade audiences MAGA people want to have during a pandemic is fine with me. Let's let natural selection without the issue.
They need to ban them from traveling out of Florida. We are following all the safety rules, and these motherfuckers can't freaking control themselves.
In other Twitter news, Bordic Hunter says, there's a certain level of intellect required to enjoy certain things. You can't break down Beethoven's symphonic algorithm to someone that only listens to trap and expect them to catch the vibe. Same with movies and shows. Everything isn't meant to be enjoyed by all.
Hi, musicologist here. Praising Beethoven and denouncing trap is super gross and reinscribes white supremacist power structures. It is not intellectual, but rather commitment to elite white art that is required to make this claim. Thanks, and have a good day.
And in other news, it's time for us to celebrate more of America's favorite pastime of tearing down statues and monuments. The war on those pesky racist stonemen continues and now extends itself upon racist buildings. In San Francisco, a school board has delayed the reopening of classrooms in order to discuss something much more important, such as changing the evil school name. Schools named after George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Senator Feinstein are among those being renamed because these figures significantly diminish the opportunities of those amongst us to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I completely agree. Tear it down, America. Tear it all down. Rechange, rename, rebrand so you can build back better. So in the future, your descendants can remember the names of the current modern-day politicians. Step aside, evil George Washington, Lincoln, and Senator Feinstein, and make way for brand new, progressive, and enlightened faces. Whew. Man, I got a little bit emotional. It's not every day I'm able to take part in history. Wow, we live in very progressive times. Very progressive. You know what's really cool in progressive times? When you take many articles and you put them together. See, a lot of people say that leftists do not like police officers and they want to underpay them. They want to be bad towards the cops, and that's just not true. And here, I can prove it using news snippets. Okay, let's see how it started and how it's going. Minneapolis Council moves to defund police. Establish holistic public safety force. Minneapolis violence surges as police officers leave department in droves. I guess the holistic public safety force was underfunded that day. With violent crime on the rise in Minneapolis, the city council asks, where are the police? I'm not making these headlines up, okay? And they're in chronological order. Yes, where are the cops? The council wondered. And if one of you bigots makes the joke that the cops have been frozen like those windmills in Texas, I swear to God, I'm banning you from my channel. Minneapolis City Council alarmed by surge in crime months after voting to defund the police. Some, not all, Minneapolis City Council members would like a redo on defunding the police. Minneapolis to spend $6.4 million to recruit more police officers. Minneapolis will spend $6.4 million to hire dozens of police officers, even as some city council members and activist groups are advocating to replace the police department. Man, this is why I love the left. You know, where else, besides in this particular ideology, can you make decisions that fuck with thousands of people and you face no repercussions for it? You do like these things called social experiments. It's like, what if we don't have a police department? What if we have a holistic public safety force? What? That doesn't work? Okay, well, just throw more taxpayer money at the problem. Hire more police now. But you know what? At the end of the day, police officers are now being paid more. $6.4 million more allocated to the recruitment. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that amazing? Now, I know what you're saying. It's like, okay, but what if I'm a person that's a small business owner and has been affected by the rise in crime wave during this time? Well, if that's the case, don't worry about it because the Biden administration, they got you covered.
What is President Biden doing for my small business? First and foremost, he nominated a woman to lead the Small Business Administration.
Now that is fucking progressive, isn't it? Oh, I'm sure you're covered, okay? So if you're a small business owner, just like know that a woman is in charge and you're going to be fine. No questions asked. Okay, let's look at some of the news, like what has transpired lately. Joe Biden playing as Luigi wins in Mario Kart race against granddaughter. Look how happy he is. He's like pumping that victory fist, taking off the mask in order to breathe that victory air. It's like, yes. First Lady Jill Biden wore a scrunchie while shopping and people felt so seen. That is wholesome, man. That is just wholesome as fuck. That is like the most wholesome thing that I have seen all year. Power up. Scrunchies and dog walking. The country gets a taste of Joe Biden's radical normalcy. I'm so glad there are no problems in the United States. I am so glad that this is the new normal of news. I mean, these publications would complain when the old president used to have 2 scoops of ice cream. I mean, they're watching the presidency like a hawk. And if these people can't find anything bad with the presidency, then we can rest assured that yes, things are finally back to normal. And everyone can relax. Except this professor relaxed a little bit too much. A Columbia professor who uses heroin says the drug helps him maintain a work-life balance and should be legal for everyone. Oh, now that is progressive. That is so fucking progressive. I don't think we can progress even more. I think we reached the peak. Oh no, wait. European Space Agency to recruit more female astronauts and people with disabilities. I think peak progressivism has been reached. 2021, best year ever. What can I possibly complain about?